roll tape, Terry Ann, and then we'll take roll, and hopefully Luella will be back with us by then.
She's coming in now.
Due to COVID-19, this meeting will be conducted as a Zoom meeting pursuant to the provisions of the Governor's Executive Order N-2920, which suspends certain requirements of the Brown Act. This meeting is being live streamed on the CCTA website. The chair will call upon members, staff, and other speakers by name. Please speak clearly and state your name before giving comments or remarks. Persons participating via Zoom with their cameras enabled are reminded that their activities are visible to viewers. Members participating by Zoom wishing to speak should physically raise their hand and unmute their mic when called upon. Members should remute their mics when done speaking. Citizens participating by Zoom wishing to speak should use the Raise Hand feature or dial *9 if participating via phone, and the chair or staff will call upon them at the appropriate time. Citizens will have 3 minutes to speak. A 30-second warning will be provided. After 3 minutes, staff will lower their hand and mute their mic. Participants via phone will be called upon by the last 4 digits of their phone number. It is requested that public speakers state their names and organization, but providing such information is voluntary. Written public comments received in accordance with the COVID-19 Special Notice for Public Comment Guidelines are printed on the meeting agenda. If authors of the written correspondence would like to speak, they should raise their hand and the chair will call upon them at the appropriate time. All written correspondence received after that and during the meeting will be entered into the record. A roll call vote will be taken for all action items. Thank you for participating in a meeting of the Contra Costa Transportation Authority.
Great. We have a quorum. All 6 members are present. Our next item is public comment for anyone who wishes to address us on any item not on tonight's agenda. Do we have any hands raised, Terry Ann?
No hands raised. Did you want me to take an official roll call?
That's fine. I didn't see it on the agenda, so but yes, go ahead. Let's do that, please.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Hudson?
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly?
Here.
Commissioner White?
Here.
Vice Chair Haskew?
Here.
Chair Kelly? I'm sorry. I meant to say Chair Mitchell. My bad. Sorry.
Here we go.
Okay,
Yes.
everyone is present. Thank you.
Wonderful. All righty. Again, there were no hands raised under public comment, so we will move on to our consent calendar, several items. Anyone wishing to remove anything before a motion is made? All right. Do we have any public comment? I'm assuming not.
No public comment.
Thank you. Will one of our board members please make a motion?
1 through 9.
I think
Second. Oh, sorry, Karen, you're on.
moved by Hudson, seconded by Haskew. Roll call, please.
This second sneaks in.
Commissioner Hudson?
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly?
Yes.
Commissioner White?
Yes.
Vice Chair Haskew?
Yes.
Chair Mitchell?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Item
You're welcome.
4A is a request, a recommendation for authorization for the chair to execute agreement number 569 with Streetlight Data. Are we having a staff report on this?
Yes, good evening, Chair Mitchoff, John Huang, Planning Director.
Hello,
And
Mr. Hall.
I'll present a brief presentation on this. For this item, again, staff is asking for the authority to execute agreement number 569 with Streetlight Data for a countywide multimodal subscription, and this is for a 1-year subscription in the amount of $502,500. And also the second part of the request is to have the authority into an MOU, memorandum of understanding, with the 7 cities that will be participating in a cost sharing model for the Streetlight Data. And the cost breakdown is right now $350,000 will be coming from the authority. This amount has been budgeted in this fiscal year, and the remaining balance of the remaining balance will come from a collective cities that are listed on your staff report there. With that, I will answer any questions.
Are there any questions for Mr. Hahn? Do we have any public comment on this item?
No public comment.
Thank you. Motion, please. I think Mr. White would like to make a motion and Ms. Kelly would like to second it.
I'll make a motion to move.
Sounds
this
like a
item.
hand.
You're on mute, Chris, but I've learned to read lips as.
I
have
will
you
second
all.
that. Thank you, Karen.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Commissioner
Aye.
Hudson,
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly,
Aye.
Commissioner White,
Aye.
Vice Chair Haskew,
Aye. Chair
Mitchell.
Yes,
Motion passes unanimously.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Item 4B is a release of the draft 2021 congestion management plan. I'm going back and forth between the packet and the agenda. Is there a reason we're not putting the staff name on the agenda?
Yeah, we had to, in order to get PrimeGov to function well, we had to remove a lot of the customizations that went into it. And it helps automate it, but it is on each of the staff reports. It does
No,
list
I
the added
know.
a staff contact.
I just have to go back and forth, but not the end of the world. So I will call upon whoever, it's Mr. Kelly. Go ahead, please.
We'll just get into the habit of waving when.
That would be helpful. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Mitchoff. Good evening, planning committee members. Matt Kelly, Senior Transportation Planner with CCTA. I'm here to bring to you the release of the draft 2021 Congestion Management Program, or the CMP. We are a CMA. We are the assigned CMA for Contra Costa County, and with that designation, we are required by the state to prepare and update a congestion management program every 2 years. We started back in '91. This will be our 15th, and my apologies to Chair Mitchoff and Member Hudson, who've probably seen, 5 or 6 of these over the years. So I'll keep it brief, but I'm gonna offer up a little twist on this year's CMP. So as I tell everyone every year, we are required to do this by the state in order to fulfill our CMA duties. However, this original CMP legislation from back in 1991 was based on our Measure J growth management program. So we were already doing all of the things required under the CMP legislation. We were just doing it under our growth management program. So when we update the CMP every 2 years, we defer to our growth management program for most of the requirements. What we really focus on in our CMP updates, and what we'd like to focus on for the 2021 update, is monitoring our CMP network, which includes all of our freeway facilities in the county and 65 intersections throughout the county. We monitor them for their level of service. We also collect bike and pedestrian counts at those locations, and we are able to track that back over several cycles. And this year, as part of that monitoring, which we'll release the results of that in September, we plan on publishing a dashboard or an online viewer where you can look at 2021 traffic data and also look at 2019, 2017, 2015, going all the way back. So it'll be an easy way if you're looking for some basic traffic trends over the years in your community or countywide. You can pull up this dashboard and take a look or print out a map, something like that. So we hope it'll be of help to folks. So while this is a requirement, we try and get some benefit out of the updates each time around. We also will plan on updating all of our performance measures. We don't have to do much in our consistency with the regional transportation plan because we're still under Plan Bay Area 2040, the 2017 RTP. So we don't yet have to be consistent with the new RTP, Plan Bay Area 2050. So there's a lot of things in the CMP that don't need to be updated this time around. So we're focusing on kind of some technical updates. We will release this. We plan on releasing this in July. It will be out for comment through the RTPCs through the month of September. Comments are due early October. We'll then bring it back to you in December for adoption and submittal to MTC, which fulfills our requirement. The twist I'm going to bring to you this year, and it's not technically going to be part of the CMP, but it's something we want, a recommendation we're probably going to bring to you when we do adopt the CMP. And that is the idea of opting out of the congestion management program. It's something that we've thought about over the years, but we're nervous of because as a CMA, we don't want to, one, lose that designation, or two, lose the funding that goes along with being a CMA. However, we know we're already fulfilling the CMP legislation through our growth management program. We know Sonoma County has opted out several years ago and still receives all those gas tax funds and other pass-through funds from MTC. So what we plan on doing kind of over the next several months is meeting with MTC staff along with two other CMAs who are also interested in the idea. So we will be meeting with MTC and getting guarantees from them that there will be no change in the current relationship we have now. We don't want to lose a cent of money. We just want to be able to be more streamlined and not have to prepare a report that maybe isn't necessary, since we're doing it under another program that's associated with our measure. So that's something we're going to be doing in the meantime. We'll bring the results of our discussions with MTC back to you. If it doesn't look good to us, if it doesn't pass the CCTA staff litmus test, we're not going to send it up the line to you. But we will be coming back to you with a final CMP in the fall, late fall, for adoption by the authority and submittal to MTC. But just bear in mind that we may also be bringing this other recommendation to you regarding opting out. That's all I have for tonight. Recommendation is to release the draft CMP for review through the RTPCs, and I can take any questions.
Thank you. Chris?
Yeah, Matt, how often do we have to release this CMP? How often?
Every 2 years.
Every 2 years. So it's a heck of a lot of work. Is that what you're saying? For just like every 2 years? We're following the guidelines anyway.
Yeah, we do it all in-house, so we aren't expending consultant funds other than on the data collection. But yeah, it's a significant effort.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Do we have any public comment, Terry Ann?
No public comment.
All right. I think Ms. Haskew would like to make the motion, and this time Mr. Hudson would like to second it.
Second.
More than anything, I want to make the motion.
Okay. May we have a roll call, please?
Yes, Commissioner Hudson,
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly,
Aye.
Commissioner White,
Aye.
Vice Chair Haskew,
Yes.
Chair Mitchell.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. And we will now move on to item 4C, which is, I looked at it, Mr. Engel, he's already waving on the implementation of the Contra Costa Accessible Transportation Strategic Plan, ATSIP. Oops, you're on mute and I can't read all of your lips.
I loved every word.
Not all of your lips. I can't read your lips.
Yeah, thank you. Good evening, Chair Mitchoff and commissioners, planning committee members. I'll make this very brief. I think the staff reports, gives you most of the information you need. I just wanted to point out that what we'll be doing with the board is asking to appoint 2 members to the task force. There is provided in the staff report a list of proposed task force members. It's primarily the same as what was part of the policy advisory committee as we did the study. There are some additions I just wanted to point out. One was a representative of the low income community, which was a recommendation from the Board of Supervisors. We also have a representative of as a paratransit user or accessible transportation user. And then we're also proposing representation of one person from each of the 4 RTPCs. We have 2 RTPCs that actually have sub-regional funds that could support this program. So we thought it was important to get RTPC representation on this. I will point out two issues that one issue that we're looking at with regard to that is quorum issues as we move forward with the task force. And really this applies most of all to the Board of Supervisors, because there's only 5 members that we need to keep in mind that only 2 Board of Supervisors can participate on the task force. So we'll be working with the chair and staff to kind of develop a recommendation as far as membership for that. The other issue I wanted to bring up, and this would actually be in addition to the existing recommendation, in the staff report, it talks about us moving forward with a request for funds from the county's Measure X program. And it has been recommended to us that we get a letter of support from the authority signed by the chair to support that funding request. So we will be, when this goes to the board, we'll have a draft letter of support for the chair to sign to forward that to the county for that request. So that's the end of my staff report. I know John Cunningham is also on the line if he has anything to add, and I see Dave Hudson, or sorry, Commissioner Hudson.
Yeah, whoever.
who's flying over Hawaii.
Yes, or wherever. Dave, go ahead.
Yeah, Peter, this is one of the things you hate to admit, but it's been one of those weeks. I haven't read this staff report. I just thought I was on this task force. Is this different than the one we had before? And who is on the task force, or is there recommendations, or what is in the staff report that we should know?
Yeah, so as far as the task force, so previously you were on the Policy Advisory Committee, and I think the task force is it's a separate thing. So I suspect that if you're interested in continuing to participate at the board meeting, just let them know. I think we're anticipating that most of the people that participated in the Policy Advisory Committee would continue to participate because they have that history.
And is Rashidi on that? I know that would be, and I'm going to be chair next year.
Rashidi Barnes?
Yeah.
I don't know.
His staff? Okay.
Oh, Rashida from County Connection?
Yeah.
So
I flash back too.
I know, exactly. So we've been talking a little bit about that from a staff level. And I think we kind of feel like when the task force gets seated, that if they have a recommendation that there's a technical advisory committee, that, the task force can make that decision to form that technical advisory committee. We have staff report and consulting support to support that. So.
Okay, I'll just leave it, Chair. What do you want us to do? And Luella's...
Well, I want to go to Luella, and then I have a question too. Go ahead, Luella.
This is just like a technical thing, which is the chair of CCTA is also an employee of the county. Is there any kind of conflict of interest and need to deal with some kind of legal issue?
That's a good question. We will ask that of legal counsel before we move that forward. I'm sorry, Chairman.
No, go ahead, Peter. Go ahead.
I think if it's board direction to have her sign that letter of support, that would probably supersede a personal relationship. But we will check into that. Tim, I don't know if you have any response to that. Okay.
Good question, Luella. I hadn't even thought of that. My question, Peter, is are we, as the planning committee, supposed to make the recommendations of the 2 CCTA board members, or you're saying that it's usually the chair and vice chair?
I think it would, we had a brief discussion on that. I think it's a better discussion to have at the board, the full board, because the planning committee is just a partial subsection of the full board that they discuss who might be interested in participating.
So this is information. And when will this, because I definitely want to be on this committee, but since there's 2 slots for the Board of Supervisors, I don't want to take a CCTA spot. And maybe John Cunningham knows the answer to this. When is this going to the Board of Supervisors for their self-nominations?
Yeah, Chair Mitchell, good question. I'm actually having an exchange with your staff, Leah Bristol, right now on setting up a meeting with you on that. This should be going to the Board of Supervisors. That's at I think it's the July 27th board meeting.
So is this coming as from DCD as a request to appoint 2 board members?
That is correct, except it will be to appoint 1 board member. And as was discussed earlier, this is sort of a refined version of the Policy Advisory Committee. The Policy Advisory Committee had 1 Board of Supervisors member.
Oh, I see, 1 Board of Supervisor. Okay,
Correct.
I got you.
Correct.
All righty. And so DCD isn't making a recommendation. You're just bringing it to the board for discussion and decision.
That's correct.
Okay. All righty. Thank you. And so Peter, that was just for informational purposes?
Well, yeah, just to move, there was a recommendation to move forward with the appointment of 2 members, as well as for the chair to sign the letter of support for the Measure X.
Okay.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm
Yeah,
sorry. We would like to revise the recommendation and have you include the inclusion of the support of the Measure X request.
Okay. Since this needs to be discussed, we're not recommending, you're just saying you want the motion to say that it should be 2 people from CCTA, not who those 2 people are. All right.
And that the authority move forward actually with that.
Okay. And I did read the staff report, and I'm going to give some language here for whoever the mover of the motion is, that the letter to the Board of Supervisors and the Measure X committee is for priority funding. We are not asking for dollar amounts. I know you're going to make a presentation. I believe I saw that on July 28th. You're more than welcome to talk about the dollar amounts, but the Board of Supervisors is going to be making its Measure X recommendations based on priorities. And I think the letter should highlight that this is a very high priority. And John Cunningham can help you work on language on the letter for our chair to sign. And I'm being very specific here because we have members of the Measure X committee who want it to be dollars, and the board is given specific direction that it's priority. And this falls under senior services. It also falls under safety net for those who need these types of services, who don't necessarily are not older in what we consider senior citizens. So do I have a motion? Pardon me?
I appreciate that advice, Supervisor.
And I'm happy to talk to you before you go to the meeting, just to give you some other hints. So I would like a motion that this body recommends to the full authority that CCTA appoint 2 members, and that the staff is directed to write a letter for the chair to sign to the Measure X committee.
That's a good motion. I'll second it.
Thank you. And Chris,
I'll
are
make the
you?
motion and Dave will second it.
I do
Okay.
have a question though, if I can, Peter.
Go ahead.
I apologize. I didn't read. Does County Connection also have a seat on this? Because I wouldn't want to take away a CCTA seat if there's another one there.
Yes, County Connect, all the transit operators have a seat.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Yes, you do. So moved by Kelly, seconded by Hudson. Any public comment on this, Terry Ann?
No public comment.
Gee, what a surprise. Roll call, please.
Aye.
Thank you, Commissioner Hudson. Commissioner Kelly,
Aye.
Commissioner White,
Aye.
Vice Chair Haskew,
Aye.
Chair Mitchoff.
Aye.
Motion
Thank you.
passes unanimously.
Thank you. And our last item on our regular agenda is the development of the Contra Costa County Transportation Plan. And I didn't get to that one fast enough. So who's raising their hand? Mr. Hong again. Hello.
Hello again, Chair Mitchoff and committee members. So I do have a PowerPoint presentation, a very short one, so I'll go ahead and just share my screen right now. Okay, can you all see it? So this item is bringing, staff is bringing this item to you. This is different than you'd heard Matt present the congestion management program, which is a CMP, which is done every 2 years. So this is the countywide transportation plan, which is done every 4 to 5 years. The reason we're doing this PTP every 4 to 5 years, it's not due to any legislation or any law, but it's basically as part of the Measure C and Measure J that we approved for the sales tax measure. Part of it includes the growth management program, the GMP, and part of the GMP requires that CCTA develop this countywide transportation plan every 4 to 5 years. The plan, which is a little bit different than the CMP. CMP is every 2 years. CMP is, and I want to bring up the CMP because it just kind of differentiate the two. CMP is the near-term monitoring program, whereas this is a long-term plan that articulates the vision, goals, and the strategies of Contra Costa, and really creates a blueprint for what we want transportation to look at in the future. And this plan actually includes the local plans from the regional local plans, meaning the action plans from the RTPCs, and also other plans that the CCTA has worked on over the years. The first CTP was completed in 1995, and ever since then, every 4 or 5 years, we've updated that document. This year, we want to do not only check the box, but really do something innovative, something a little bit different, and forward thinking. These are the goals that some of you may recognize. These are goals that are taken from the transportation expenditure plan from a few years ago. And the reason I'm showing this is because this is a good starting point. For the next plan update. Again, these are high arching goals, which addresses a similar, very familiar subjects, which is relieving traffic congestion, increasing ridership for transit, providing access and safe transportation for all, and also improving transportation for communities in general. The development process actually started earlier this year when we were drawing up the schedule and the activities that needs to be done. And this is just a snapshot of what will be coming your way in the next couple of years. We're starting off the action plan updates now. So we'll be working with the RTPCs. There's a ton of meetings that we're meeting with the RTPCs and reach out to the cities to develop the action plans. And that process will take about a year. Kind of integrated in that whole year will be the public outreach plan. We're going to include a travel behavior study. You've heard of that study before. We've done that for the I-680, and we want to expand that travel behavior study to the other major corridors within the county. There's going to be a lot of public engagement due to the COVID times. So there's an opportunity actually to do a lot of online engagement as well as hopefully in person outreach if there is an opportunity to do that. And also we're cognizant of the stakeholders that are involved, and we want to reach out to advocates and stakeholders to make sure that they're on board with the process. The CTP will include not only the draft document itself, but also we'll be doing an environmental impact report because we do have a project list. Again, the whole process is anticipated to take about 2 years with a completion date in June of 23. These are just elements that I kind of put together. I've taken some from existing presentation that you all seen, but adding other concepts, programs, projects, and so forth, just to kind of initiate a discussion and then give you some ideas of what we're looking at. Again, I'm not going to go through all these, but there are some new elements that just we're going to push more on technology and innovation, looking at EV station deployment and deployment of vehicles itself, and then also looking at enhanced ways of trying to get people back on transit. With that, I will open the floor up to any comments you may have and discussion or suggestions.
Thank you. Can you take down your share screen, please? Thank you, because I want to see all those bright shining faces. Do any of my colleagues have any comments or questions? Chris?
So, John, what will be the effect of bringing this plan to fruition? You say it takes 2 years. We'll, take a look at everyone. So, what will be? It's just what will be the result of all of this? Aside from sharing information, are there any mandates or anything that will come out of it?
As far as mandate, this is our long range plan that kind of lays out the type of work, the type of focus that the authority is going to be working on. And a lot of the programs and projects are going to continue, and other new projects and programs are going to come out of this plan. As far as the plan, as the content in itself, it's really a time for us to kind of revisit what has worked in the past, what doesn't work, and to improve on the process, on the different elements of the transportation.
Okay, so it's basically it's a strategic plan, and we may or may not come out with some recommendations about what to really emphasize.
Oh, actually, it will come out with recommendations, and it will include a project list. We'll move forward the project list from the past plan, and also look at new projects and kind of essentially lay the groundwork, to look in the future of how to pursue more funding and so forth.
Okay, and then we'll publicize this with the public, correct?
Definitely, yeah. This is
so they know where we're going. Okay.
Yeah, this is a completely public process, and what I mentioned earlier, we need to engage the public more. I think this is an opportunity for us to again reemphasize CCTA, what we do, who we are, and how we serve the public on the transportation forum.
Okay, thank you.
Dave?
Yeah. John, maybe I'm missing something on this. MTC has to do an update just like for the Sustainable Community Strategy, housing, transportation. I mean, do we send projects, or do we take things from the CTP to send them to get money out of them? I mean, I thought they were connected in that way. It isn't just some plan that hangs around. We actually, we got to compete with the other CMAs more or less.
Yes, Commissioner Hudson, you're exactly right. Actually, the project list that's included in the CTP is actually rolls up into the regional plan. So, so there is a connection there, and it behooves us to include as many projects as possible in this plan. Again, it all starts with projects that receive funding. Anytime we pursue funding from the feds or the state, it starts with inclusion of those projects in the plan.
Any other questions? Any public comment, Terry Ann?
No public comment.
All right. And this is a recommendation, oh, pardon me, I'm on the wrong one. This is a recommendation. Oh, no, it says it's informational only, so no staff recommendation at this time. That's why I have to go back and forth here, folks. But for the betterment of the system, we'll persevere. All righty, with that, correspondence and communications, commissioners and staff comments. I have no comments. Do any of my commissioners have any comments or questions? Executive staff, Mr. Hale, do you have anything
No
you'd like to
comment.
share?
No comments this evening. Thank you, Madam
All
Chair.
righty. Well, and I don't think we have any other business. So we will adjourn to our next meeting. We are going dark in August. Have a good vacation year this year. And our next meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, September 1st, 2021 at 6 p.m. So we'll see you all on the CCTA meeting in 2 weeks. Other than that, have a good evening. Good night.
Night.